That's a lot of Regenesis today. Make sure you guys smash the like crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more next play breakdowns. Now, this week's next play is a very interesting story, actually, because that's a lot of Regenesis builds out here. So many people have been trying to cook with Regenesis right now. It's actually pretty impressive, the current state that we have found this deck in out here, and players are really trying to make this deck work. Now, unfortunately, it was not such a good turnover rate, though, if you were a Regenesis main for this event, because unfortunately, not a single one of these ended up making it in to the top cut, which is really funny, actually, when you think about it, because this deck tried so hard, but yet got so nothing. We also had 5 Risal mains entering into the arena as well. All right, this is a lot of meta challengers out here. We also had 5 Malice decks. I see everybody was on try-hard mode today. We also had 5 Tempai decks as well. I can imagine the amount of try-hard going second present in this room. Like, I can smell it from here. We also had 4 White Forest decks. Okay, we also had 4 Blue Eyes White Dragons, and we had a couple of rogue challengers out here. It looks like we had a Goblin Biker pile. Not sure what the one before that is. It looks like a Speedroid deck. Looks like a Danger deck. Don't quote me on that. And then we have an Eldritch and another pile that I don't really recognize out here. I'm just 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 to 29 of these decks out here take up a huge portion of this meta chart. I'm going to clap for it, man. I really am. I think that this is by far one of the strongest metas that I've seen in terms of competition. But what you're here for, the shift in to top 8. And hi, Risal. I see that you wanted the conversion today. Holy crap, man. That is a lot of Risal carrying its weight into this top cut, and you know, it had the best conversion rate. Obviously, Risal just has such a good, consistent matchup across the board in Japan. It's actually kind of freaking nuts out here just to see how this has been going. Now, for the rest of the challengers here, for the rest of the pie chart, you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you have Malice, you have White Forest, and you have Tempai. All of the very heavy represented decks are actually here, and you get the chance to see how these little guys decided to convert on over here. But when you actually see here in a second who actually ended up going down and winning this event, you're just going to be like, huh? Like, how are those the challengers? Well, let's pass on over to those deck lists. So starting us off here, we have the Power of Tempai actually winning our event. About time this deck back in the spotlight out here, man. You got the triple Ultimate Slayers in the main deck. You know, still must be nice. You get to play triple Sengen Kaiman over here. I absolutely understand that you guys are going to steal some games. You also do see that we have the Forbidden Droplets built into the main deck in here as well. Basically, this deck going to be stealing games. I also see down here, we are playing the Koi Belt. That's actually kind of interesting. Of course, the Meteor Logic and the Typhone. I know that a lot of people kind of look at Typhone in this deck and they're like, you know, do you really need it? Yes. There's going to be a lot of terrible situations where you need to convert a Tempai Dragon on into a Typhone to even be able to remotely get a monster to stick on the field. Trust me, I've played enough of this deck. Typhone was kind of the little saucy card that could. Also helps against the detonator. So congratulations to the unforgettable dragon experience. Now we also have, speaking of dragons out here, we got some Blue Eyes action for you. Now, in terms of, you know, something super spicy, that's triple Drill Beam in here. This deck has been so pissed off with the meta that they just said, you know what, drill beams everywhere, get them in here. We want to be able to be fired. We want to fire drill beams left, right, center. Just it's the best card in the deck. All right, and the fact that you see that this build went with 3 of them is actually kind of freaking disgusting. I also find very interesting that we are playing the Gamma and the Driver in here. I guess, to be honest with you, if you can get the Gamma or the Driver to stick, if not, you know, you can make a Lena or some other Link 2, really depending on how things kind of shape up for you. But I like that a lot. It does kind of show how strong having a reactive hand trap actually can be to handle the meta. Ooh, we've also got, oh boy, we're back on this 60 card hype train out here. I knew that Japan was messing around with this. Keep in mind that before the ban list in Japan, this was the deck that was starting to show up that was just toxic cancer, man. Fairy Tale Snow with Grass being able to multi-trigger every one of those frickin' Malice names is insane, man. Like, it's not fair. And here you go. You have the OCG cooking back with this. Again, now obviously Allure of Darkness was a very big centerpiece to this strategy. And they actually lost it during the whole last, way through. So kind of keep that in mind out here as you're seeing this deck, coming back into the spotlight out here. I think that the deck is very, very, very underrated in the OCG. If this deck actually goes, as you're seeing here, it just explodes. It's scary. Now, what else do we have? We have a Risal deck. And it's really funny. Out of all those Risal variants, they barely struggled to get into top 4 out here with this last one. So this one, you do see we have all 6 of the Mulcharmies present in the main deck. Actually are citing the Meows down here. You also are going to notice that we are citing the C102 or whatever its name is down there to actually search for the Lancia, so you can put that pressure on your opponent. So no, you're not going to be playing the game today, Duelist. It's almost like, you have to have something like that. You also are going to notice the triple small world, all the 7 Tachyon stuff in here. We are actually main decking the Plasma Hole now as that little option to kind of get us places. And you see that this build is also using the Donner to kind of clear things up because there is a Nibiru present in that main deck. It's actually very surprising to me to see how much, while this deck had such great representation, it did not convert over well. Now, some of the other challengers here. Starting things off, we have a Regenesis list. This is actually kind of cool, but the Duelist didn't do necessarily so hot. I like the idea that they are main decking the Chaos Hunters in here. You also have the Lava Golem in here as a board clear card to actually kind of make sure that, we can kind of set some things up and try to play the game. But you also have the big Diabellstar monsters in here as well. You want to be able to use those to your advantage to be able to power through and bully your opponent. In terms of what else this deck actually has going for it, Dark Spirit's Mastery gets you the search for the Big Dragon. Yes, the Big Dragon is actually a fiend, which is freaking hilarious. It's actually why you're playing the Dark Spirit's Mastery in this, to line up with the 2,500 attack point lines, so you can actually do some really funny interactions. This deck is going to be very notorious for some of those little funny extra lines that you're going to be able to do. So we performed really well here. Next up here, we have, this is Goblin Biker Tempai. Excuse me while I take a second here to process what in the world is actually going on here. So I see that, yes, this build is playing Jowgen, so you're going to be attempting, I guess on the very back end of things, to get to A Bow Q, be able to kind of set up the infinite wall of Jowgen hate against your opponent. But you've also got the Tempai cards in the deck to OTK your opponent. You have the Fiendsmith cards in here to facilitate just the build up to the A Bow Q the way it looks. Using the Goblin Biker cards as a form of disruption to take care of anything that the Risal Duelist might be throwing at you. But looking at this, you solidly have a lot of answers here in this deck, which is fantastic. When a deck like this actually shows up out here, I love the fact you can see all the innovation actually coming together and doing its thing. So good stuff for, the pile decks. And then we also have, we have a White Forest pile for you here. Wow, all the big boss monsters, the Diabellstar, the Lacrima, the Fiendsmith, all that all lined up in a very nice row for you out here. You also do get to see how the how the White Forest cards kind of interact and build on into this, and how the rest of this deck, wants to look here. Now, obviously, you do see Baron de Fleur down there. Yeah, I know. Same thing with Apollosa. These are the more toxic, boss cards that obviously are key differences between our formats. But, you know what? All the nicer little things, I guess, for today. So what do you guys think about these interesting decks? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I will see your beautiful faces back here today, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.